What's going on? Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We're about to break down UFC Jacksonville, which should be a banger this weekend. And as always, before we jump into it, you go down and comment your picks, your bets, and as well like and subscribe to the channel. It matters a lot. These are your hosts to break it down. I'm Paul. Pick a win of contra. I got a beer. I got some weed. I'm ready to go, boy.
Hey man, if you didn't know, I don't mind telling your thirsty ass again. This is the water boy in this motherfucker. I got the Princess Bella on my motherfucking lap right now because she loves to do that when we recording and shit. But hey man, we talking UFC Jacksonville. This shit, UFC Jacksonville is like what, an hour and a half, an hour and a half away from me. But like we saving up for another card, if you know what I mean. But Paul, this is about to be a good one. My dog Illy to motherfucking Topuria is in this bitch. And was his last fight his fight against Bryce Mitchell?
Yep. And the fight before that, Jai Herbert over there in UFC London.
That's how you know people have been ducking him. They can't even find him a fight for real.
And then Josh Emmett, he's coming off the interim title fight against who did he lose to?
Yair Rodriguez.
Yes, Yair. He's gonna fight Volkanovski soon enough. But like even outside of them, I kind of want to call it like not step up fights, but like this is definitely a step up fight for Topuria. Then you got Phil Rowe, prospect, who's gonna fight Neil Magny, who's definitely gonna be a step up fight for him. And just great young talent. You got the Kaisiwa Taira versus Klotson Rodriguez, two young prospects, and then David Onama, who was the hottest prospect last year, is now a plus 200 underdog to Brazil's prospect Gabriel Santos, who's coming in on a short notice. And then even the women holding down the co-main event spot with Macy Barber and Amanda Ribas, like in both in their prime, and both are all like right out that cusp of title contention. Like they always fight the number one and two people, they lose, but they always beat the rest. So like I can't ask for a better card. Coming off a really great card last week. I mean, they're definitely carrying the momentum going into summer.
No, I can't wait. This is low key a good card. I don't know, man. We had a good card last weekend. I don't know, man. We might be in the season of good cards, man. And then we got motherfucking UFC International Fight Week, UFC X, UFC 290, whatever you want to call it. Yair and both, and then motherfucking Brandon Moreno and Pantoja. I'm just Bo Nickel and Trayshawn Go. I'm just saying, like, this is looking
and then the card after that, is even better. Holly Holm versus Silva.
Oh, that shit's gonna go crazy.
Nah, I'm joking, bro. Holly Holm should not be main eventing cards at 40 years old. We can't. We talked about this her last time she fought.
I thought we liked Holly Holm in the last fight. She fucked bro up.
No, we do, but it's just it's on. We didn't like when Amanda Nunes got main event slot. All right, like Holly Holm thinks she do it.
That's true. Niggas do be hot when Amanda Nunes. But yeah, man.
Oh, my bad, Ken.
What fight do you want to start talking about first, man?
Well, what's usually always the first fight when he fights, which it's not this time. Now it's the second fight on the card. But Taisuyo Taira, the hottest prospect out of Japan, not like other prospects that don't fight maybe once every year or so. Like he's very active. This will be his third or fourth, I think fourth fight in the UFC already within 2 years or a year and a half. Going up against Brazil's prospect, Klotson Rodriguez, who's you might not know too much about him, but he's coming off the Contender Series where he passed with flying colors, got a knockout on the Contender Series, and then after that, he lost a very controversial split decision to Vergara, where everyone thought he won. So like I kind of don't hold that against him. I think he won that fight. And then he goes over to Australia and enemy territory and knocks out their Australian fighter in the first round on his last fight. So then he's the legit, like Oliveira co-signs him, the Lima brothers, Nogueira, like everyone co-signs him at Shoot Boxing over there. He has pictures with Oliveira. They seem like really good buddies. He's 27 years old. Taira is 23 years old. Like this is two prospects that both could honestly be top 15. Like it's flyweight. Like it's not the deepest division. It's very top heavy, and like both of these guys, I could definitely see in the top 15. And whoever wins this fight, I could definitely see fighting for a title. I could see both of them really honestly fighting for a title. Like Taira, great wrestler. He's been known to, like that's not normal for Japanese fight. Like he's coming in with great wrestling, submits you from the top, and he just dominates you. He almost got caught in the guillotine in his last fight for like a couple minutes, fought through it, still ended up with a first round of submission after trying to defend a guillotine for like 2 minutes. Still ended up submitting him in the first round. And
Oh
then
wow.
Rodriguez, like he's just that flashy. Like he's that flashy KO guy. He has heavy hands. He will rock you. He's Brazilian, so you know he has that BJJ in his back pocket. He trains with Oliveira, like so. It's gonna be kind of interesting on who. Like there are some holes in some of these guys, but what they do good, it's 5-star rating when they do it. Like they're really high end. So kind of honestly, I could see Taira not be able to take down Rodriguez in this fight. Rodriguez trains with Oliveira, has knows how to fight off his back in BJJ. Like if Taira gets a little too comfortable in top position, maybe he gets caught in something off of Rodriguez's back. Rodriguez
Oh,
also got heavy hands. What if he rocks Taira early, like, and then Taira's not fighting the same no more? But at the same time, Taira's been dominant in all his fights, so it's a fun ass fight. Like this kick off the fucking prelims, like this is high level.
this is the second fight, right? On
Mm-hmm.
the prelims.
Yep.
I think that's interesting. I've never seen I don't think I've seen any Japanese fighters that wrestle like that crazy. So I was thinking I was gonna have to start watching Pride or something if I wanted to see that. So I'm definitely gonna have to tap in for this one. But damn, I like Ty. I think he's fine. The way you broke him down is nice, but you know I'm a real shoot box guy. You feel me? I'm a real shoot. I'm not CKB for life, but on my back it says real shoot box guy. Like you feel me? You feel me? Like I gotta go with my dog Rodriguez.
See, I really want Taira to win because he's one of my favorite prospects at flyweight. But when I found out about Klotson Rodriguez, it's kind of hard to like. He kind of has like that Oliveira in him, like just that dog in him, and it's hard to root against him. But I'm not gonna get off the Taira train. I was kind of heavy on him. I brought him up on a few of our cards that he fought on before, so I'm not gonna hop off the train now. But I do think this is gonna be like the odds show -260 +210. I would bet the +210 Rodriguez just because I think it's a lot closer fight than a 2-1 favorite. So I'm still gonna rock Taira, but this might be a robbery for some people who really believe in Rodriguez this fight.
Nah, we'll see, man. This is gonna be a good fight. See, now I'm mad because there's a fucking million fights on this prelim, and you got me tapped in on the set. I was just gonna put it in the background, maybe cook something, get ready for the day. And also, this card is in the middle of the day. The main card starts at 3 p.m. Like, oh, like, well, fuck.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an early card, but I mean, the next fight also prelim, and it's two women. And you know, I'm not bringing up women prelim fights unless it's something to actually tune into. And it's Tabitha Ritchie versus Gillian Robertson. And like
I
Gillian
see.
Robertson, last time she fought, she almost broke homegirl's arm, and then went to the hotel room and posted on Instagram of her and her joint lighting that bitch up. And I was like, I kind of, she got the red hair. She kind of fly with it. Like super high level submission game, holds the UFC women's record for submissions, almost has the record for overall submissions as well, just in general. But like 9 submissions in the UFC, like she's legit one of the best off your back fighters there is. But that Tabitha Ritchie, Brazilian, one of the best Brazilian BJJ fighters there is too. Like so, they both have a dominant ground game, and they both kind of struggle on the stand up. Robinson kind of gone better over time because she's been in the UFC for so long. She's kind of gone better with her striking. And Ricky kind of reminds me more of a Jessica Andra, where it's more of like a wild dog mentality when she's fighting. It's like if it hits the ground, they're both very high level, but like stand up is both kind of their weak spot. So this fight could be 15 minutes of no one really doing anything because they both respect each other, or it could be a 15-minute dog fight between two people that might not want to hit the ground with one another. So I don't know how it was gonna go. The odds have it literally as a -130 Ricky +110 Robinson. Goes either way. I'm rocking with my girl with the red hair that was sparking up a joint her last fight after winning, almost snapping homegirl's arm.
On some random shit before I get into this fight. I was actually watching some Ronda Rousey shit the other day. And it hit me. And then when I was looking into it, it was like, yo, bro, she got all her submissions by armbar within the first minute of not to the second minute.
That
And I was like,
judo was dominating.
I was just sitting there like, I understand. I understand. She was nice like that. She was really the truth. But nobody thought like, yo, bro, I just cannot. You knew what she was coming for and what time she was gonna do that. Nobody thought like, hey, I'm not giving this arm up for nothing. I'd rather you have to cut this arm off. You're gonna have to pry this arm off my dead body if you want an arm bar. Nobody said that. Nobody's coach said, yo, she's going for the arm bar. Like you probably.
So what really killed Ronda Rousey was the Joe Rogans of the world, all the Dana Whites, like they were in her corner talking about how dominating she was because she was dominating because of her judo and submission game. But they were talking about when she's shadow boxing in the gym, literally they were talking about Rousey versus Mayweather could be that fight after McGregor and so like that's and then she went into the Holly Holm fight trying to strike with a female boxing Hall of Famer. So then Holly Holm head kicks her, and the rest is history. But like she honestly, if she would have stuck with that game plan her whole career, we might be talking like Nunes, Rousey, who's the GOAT. But she did it. The people around her fucked her.
They okay, I appreciate that. But that was a nice segue. But back to Tabitha Ritchie and Gillian. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw it, and I looked at Gillian and I said, I could never forget that red hair. And then you was talking about what she did last fight. I was like, oh, that makes sense. But I don't know, man. Tabitha Ritchie looked like she kind of smooth with it. She might have a thing or two that don't know what that Gilly might not be ready for.
Is her dashing good looks kind of swaying you right now, Kev?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a man of fighting.
Yeah, this is a beauty contest. Ritchie be first in show right now.
I actually prefer redheaded chicks and goth girls. But like Dilly would be eating right now. But like Tabitha Ritchie, there's just something about her that told me like she might have 8-2. She might have something no, what that's a record, right? 8-2?
8-1.
Robinson
12-7, but she's fought like all the big hitters in UFC women fighting.
Yeah, and she has fucking 9 submissions out of motherfucking 12 wins. So like that's what I'm gonna fucking talk about. So I don't know, man. I got Tabitha Ritchie in this one. This is the first time I think we started off at odds.
Yeah, at odds on both our fights. The next one I think we're gonna come together on because it's both our guy. Randy Brown, Rude Boy, going up against Wellington Thurman, the prodigy. And Thurman, he was at middleweight before. He's moving down back to welterweight where he used to fight at. He wasn't doing too good hot at middleweight, so he's moving back to welterweight. But he was already kind of big at middleweight. So some people want to see how he looks, even though he's fought there before. We just want to see if he's able to get back down to it again. Randy Brown, we all know him. Long arm, he likes to strike from the outside. He's fun with it, real smooth with it. Kind of been that guy who climbs up to the top 20 status, never gets to the fights a guy who's arguably top 15 and then loses, and it kind of has to climb again. But he kind of reminds me of like a Jamaican Kevin Holland that just hasn't really pieced it all together yet, like Kevin Holland has. And that's why I always root for my boy in these fights. But Wellington Thurman, big guy, plus 200 on the odds. Randy Brown, pretty big favorite, minus 230 here. Thurman's more of a grapple heavy guy, and Randy Brown's more of a strike from the outside kind of guy. So it's going to be who can get their way and who's going to win. I got my boy Randy Brown, so no doubt.
Yeah, but there's no way I'm not taking Randy Brown. But like Randy Brown has some, he does lose to hitters. Like he's lost to Belal Muhammad. He lost to,
and that's old Belal Muhammad. That's Belal Muhammad on like his 10-fight win streak, like way back.
He fought, and then he just lost to he lost to some dude named Nico Price. We got KO'd by Nico Price, but and then he got submitted by Jack Dellum, and then you know what I'm saying,
JDM. And JDM got ranked in the top 15 after that win. So that just solidified. I want to say he always is on the cusp of top 15. Just can never make it.
Yeah. But like, I'm expecting a good performance out of my dog. Like, he's back on his grind again. He's gonna get it figured out. The same thing with Kevin Holland. Everybody knows it's always funny when you're winning. So he's gonna figure it out. He just got stuck fighting some hitters, man.
Yeah, and at minus 230, I think it's a steal on the odds. Like I think it should. I think it's because he's coming off a loss that is kind of having a sour taste in people's mouth. But JDM is people are talking about he might hold the championship in the next 2 years. Like he's legit a heavy hitter. So like a loss to him doesn't really move me that much. Like so I would take that minus 230, and I'm gonna parlay it with the next fight that I'm gonna throw in here in a parlay it with Neil Magny minus 170. He's gonna go up against Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe's coming off 3 straight wins and like I think all 3 KOs. Let me go. Yeah, all 3 straight KOs. His one loss before that was to Gabe Green, who we saw Brian Battle KO in like 14 seconds a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
But
we don't know what he had.
yeah, he came in on Contender Series 2019 with a KO, then a loss to Gabe Green, and then followed up with 3 straight knockouts of his own, one over Nico Bryce, one over Jason Witt and Korsky. And Neil Magny's kind of been, I mean, he's a vet. So at this point in his career, they lined him up against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Rakhmonov beats him. Then he gets a submission win over Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod. And then he loses first round submission to Gilbert Burns, our guy. So that's his last 3 coming into it. But I'm like I said, I'm parlaying Neil Magny money line with Randy Brown's money line, mainly just because I think it's just people are underestimating Neil Magny. Like Phil Rowe, this is a big step up for him, I think. Like Nico Price is good and all, but Neil Magny is a Swiss Army knife that you're gonna have to be ready to beat in certain aspects. And I don't know if Phil Rowe, because he has heavy hands, but Neil Magny's seen heavy hands. He knows how to keep the distance. And I think he's a vet that will show his veteran experience. And he's going to win this fight on decision or maybe even a submission if it hits the ground because I haven't seen Phil Rowe really tested on the ground. And Phil Rowe in his last few fights, yeah, they're all knockouts. He was getting pieced up in a lot of those fights. Like those are very close fights in some of them. So Neil Magny, I just think has the experience and is just a better overall fighter. And at minus 170, parlay that with Randy Brown, you're probably gonna get like plus 130 odds. And that's what I'm riding with this weekend.
I like it. I like it. I like it. And if you like it, I love it. You know we rock with Neil. Neil 9 to 5 Magny. That's the name I got for bro. Because he treats his UFC shit just like he going to work, another day on a job, another day in business. He just fought Gilbert Burns. Like, that's the reason why he's coming off an L. It's Gilbert motherfucking Burns on it. And this was the beginning of the Gilbert Burns motherfucking
the redemption tour.
Yeah, like this was the first one. Like, you feel me? So he's the only person. He doesn't fear nobody. He's taking a lot of fights. A lot of motherfuckers want to take Shavkat, Gilbert Burns. Like, he's taking a lot of fights. A lot of motherfuckers want to take. I respect him to the fullest, motherfucking. We root for Neil 9 to 5 Magny tonight for this one.
And then our next fight, like I'm not just going in a row. I'm not skipping around here. Like next fight, Brandon Allen versus Bruno Silva. Brandon Allen, we saw take care of business on against Andre Munoz with a 3rd round submission, where he wasn't supposed to be the main event. They got elevated to main event status because I can't remember who was the main event. It was like I think it was Krylov versus Spann. And Krylov couldn't come, like he had an injury on fight night or he was sick. So then that got canceled during the fights were going on. So then Allen gets moved up to main event against Munoz, takes care of Munoz, subs him. Fight before that gets a 1st round submission over Jocko, sends Jocko to PFL. And then got another, like his submission and ground game is what got him here. We know Brandon Allen, he will submit you. He's great on the ground. But his striking has just leveled up, I think, fight after fight. And we'll really see it tested here against Bruno Silva, who is a former, I don't know if it's not double champ, but former M1 champion. And in the UFC, he has what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights. And out of the 6 fights, 4 wins, all 4 by knockout. Very, very stand-up heavy, long arm, good striking base, coming off a KO win over Brad Tavares. And I remember that was the Sergey Pavlovich Curtis Blades card. And we broke that fight down. And I was saying he's coming off a loss. and he looks like he's old. He is old, and he might not care anymore. Like he's kind of 1 foot out the door. And then he followed that up by basically telling me to shut the fuck up and knocked out Brad Tavares and looked good as ever. Brandon Allen looked good as ever in his last fight against Andre Muna. So like we're getting the best of both of them in this fight. Brandon Allen minus 190, Bruno Silva plus 160. Semi close odds. Let me see how you feel, Kev.
Bro, Brandon Allen's that fucking dude. That's what I've learned. That's what I learned a long time ago. Brandon Allen is that dude, and there's no way I can root against him.
Yeah, I mean, you see fights where people level up, and like I've seen that right now. Like his striking, like we know him for a submission game, but his striking has leveled up tremendously. And even though that Bruno Silva is the better striker, and I know he's Brazilian, Gerard Meerschaert submitted him. Was it in the third round? And in that same fight, Gerard Meerschaert was out striking him, and Meerschaert's not a striker, so like I'm still holding that against Bruno Silva, and I think Brandon Allen is like Meerschaert on steroids. Way better striker, not as good as submission game, but still just as lethal. So rocking with I'm a shit. Might as well add that to the parlay. Make it a 3-leg. Get it all three in a row. Bang, bang, bang. And then you have a little money to play with come main event time.
Oh, all right. Now let's get into the motherfucking main event.
Oh, hold on. Before we get into the main event, I just got to tell you, the next fight, David Onama, Gabriel Santos. David Onama, the only reason, like, I wouldn't care about this fight otherwise, but they're both prospects, and David Onama was, like, minus 1,000 in his last few fights. Like, massive favorite, super prospect, out of the Congo. And then he loses to Nate the Train Landier in a majority decision that we watched live together with Romeo Mack. And now he's a plus 200 underdog against Gabriel Santos, Brazilian prospect, 10-1, which to me, I just think is kind of wild. Like Santos is a great all-around fighter. Onama's more of the power puncher. But like you go from minus 1,000, minus 500, minus 400 favorites to now being a plus 200 underdog in your very next fight. It's kind of wild.
No, that's wild, but that sounds like freaky bands. I wouldn't say add down to the parlay, but I would say probably go sprinkle a little bit on that.
Yeah. And then, do you want to talk the co-main event? Amanda Ribas, Macy Barber?
We going straight to the co-main? Hold on. I feel like it was one of the two fights I had.
There were Austin Lane versus Justin Tafa. That was the one in between these two.
Oh, we already. Oh, my dumbass. I'm over here thinking that I thought Brandon Allen was the last fight in main event. Yeah, let's talk about the co-main.
Say it.
Let's go co-main, man. Macy the Barber.
Yeah, Macy Barber, the future, plus 170. Amanda Ribas, minus 200. Both have fight top-tier caliber opponents in this division at flyweight. Ribas, formerly a strawweight fighter that moved up to flyweight and has looked good. Oh, no, mind. She fought Caitlin Shagukian and lost and looked bad, but Shagukian was former strawweight moving up to flyweight, number one strawweight in the world, might I add. So that's not a loss I'm going to hold against Ribas. But Macy Barber, she's kind of like, she's a boxer. She's going to throw strikes. She's going to be very calculated, not much in the ground. Ribas can hit the ground with you, but she also throws a lot of volume. So it should be, but she does get caught a lot. So it should be, is her volume and ground game going to be enough, or is her getting caught a lot going to open up the window for Macy Barber, who's a very good boxer, to just kind of catch her and pick her apart? That's my breakdown of the fight.
Every time I've seen Macy Barber, I feel like I've been impressed just a little bit. I could be lying. Maybe I got recency bias.
She's coming off of 4 wins, all decision, 2 split decision, 2 unanimous. 1 over Jessica I, 1 over Miranda Maverick, 1 over Andra Lee, and 1 over De La Rosa. Decent names, some a little better than others. But she does have a loss to Alexa Grasso, where Grasso just kind of took her to the woodshed of boxing.
Sure, I believe it. Yeah, I did watch her last 2 fights live. Yeah, I'll take Macy Barber on this one.
I gotta like Ribas here just because of her volume. She throws a lot of volume and she may get caught, but basically Barber doesn't have a lot of power. Like all our fights go to decision. So like, yeah, you're gonna get caught, but does that really scare you from like
Nah, man,
pressing the action?
and if you watched the main event last week, you understand. You gotta give you gotta give a motherfucker a reason to be scared. If not, they gonna go crazy.
And then we go into our main event. This is the banger. Banger on banger, banger this card. Josh Emmett plus 260 against Ilya Topuria minus 330. I'm gonna let you introduce these dogs.
Oh, see now it's time for the main event. Nah, this is a fucking banger. So Josh Emmett coming off his interim title defeat against Yair Rodriguez, and I'm still certain that Yair Rodriguez was possessed that night. I don't think anybody you could have put everybody except Max in front of him that night, and he would have fucked him up. Like he would have fucked up everybody. That shit is crazy. Like, so Josh Emmett losing to Yair Rodriguez, I don't even think that's a crazy L. He's still heavy-handed. He still has a great mindset and mentality. He's still an all-around big guy. But he has to take on my dog. The motherfucking, isn't he from France or something? The motherfucking,
I don't know. I can tell you 1 second.
my motherfucking killer, Ilya fire emoji Topuria, because that motherfucker's a hitter.
He's from Georgia.
That's what it is. He's over there with Marab and boys. Motherfucking, you know why I realized why I fuck with Ilya Topuria so much?
Why?
This is the energy I have for Bryce Mitchell until he fought Ilya Topuria. So Ilya Topuria, in my mind, is the lineal ass whooping machine right now in UFC. Lineal. It gets handed on from one to the next. You feel me? So like, man. I think Josh Emmett's gonna come in this bitch with a good game plan, but I think Ilya Topuria can just mix it up. His hand games are gonna be crazy. And we've seen that if motherfucking Emmett gets to the floor, he can get tapped out. So it might be easy to tell who I got in this fight.
So I will admit that Topuria's ground game can be a little shaky, especially with how Yair submitted him coming off of that.
You mean Josh Emmett?
Yeah, Josh Emmett. But Topuria, this is a huge step up fight. Like Bryce Mitchell, I do know what he did to the Korean Zombie. I do know that, but also I don't hold that Korean Zombie. That Korean Zombie is not the Korean Zombie. That's not the same guy. But he definitely dominated Bryce Mitchell. But both fights, the win over Bryce Mitchell and the knockout win over Jaya Herbert, he got caught. Bryce Mitchell caught him with a two-piece, kind of stunned him, and that was in the first round. And then Jaya Herbert, first round, caught him and almost sent Topuria to the shadow round. And Topuria came back in the second round and rocked him, dropped him, and got the knockout, ended up winning that fight. But it showed me he can get hit. And like Emmett's the one person at featherweight you cannot get hit by. And that's the one thing. And then you got his collegiate wrestling in the back pocket at all times, where like I think he can stuff some takedowns. And I just think he's also the more he's built. Like he's short, stocky, he's tree trunk legs, he's built. Like if he sprawls and like you try to take, I don't think you're getting a single or double leg on him. Like your BJJ might be good, but you don't have the wrestling, you don't have the weight advantage and leverage, and that's where I think this could get a little shaky. And I think it's gonna be mostly a stand-up fight. And Topuria, I think, will be winning the exchanges, but there will be a couple moments where Emmett absolutely rocks his shit. And I'm rocking with Emmett here, mainly because if this is going to be a 5-round fight, I know Emmett in the 4th and 5th round can still land as hard as he did in the first round. And I've seen Topuria get caught by some of these lower level fighters. Like Bryce Mitchell's a good name on the resume, but before that, Jaya Herbert will forever be a prelim fighter. Ryan Hall, his whole career, a prelim fighter. And he's always like, he's the guy that drops to the floor and starts scooting his buck towards you. Damon Jackson, sorry to say it, prelim fighter. Like, now you're going up against the guy who's coming off a loss for the interim belt. I love Topuria, but to me, this is way too, almost Adrian Yanez versus Rob Font type of, you're getting that, you're about to see the next gear of the UFC. Like when when college football players talk about the NFL and they're like, yeah, these boys are fast. That's gonna be ill Topuria, I think, after this fight, and I think it's gonna make him better because he's having things come not easy, but he's making it look good. And after this loss, I think he'll get that taste of the upper echelon, and he's gonna be like, I just have to work on this and this, and I'm gonna beat them. But on Saturday night in Jacksonville, I think we'll see Topuria get his first loss, and I'm rocking with Emmett.
See, I can respect that, especially with the 5 round fight, the fact it's a 5 round fight factor. But this is where I want to see Topuria's IQ. I want to see because I feel like you're right. I think he is gonna get rocked, and I think the round he gets rocked, he's gonna lose that round. But I don't think he gets finished, and I don't think he And now it comes down to like, are you gonna adapt? Are you gonna slow down? Are you not gonna leave this open? Like, please don't you dare do a Kamaru Usman and start putting your head all the way this way. Like, what do you? I want to see how he responds to that, and that's why this fight is so interesting to me because Josh Emmett is a huge step up fight for him. So if he's able to really handle this business, you can't say shit to him later. But like, damn, this is a fight I'm looking forward to.
So like Calvin Cater, we were saying outside of Maxi is the best boxer in the division. Those are moments where like Cater, that similar fight where Cater was winning, I think, most of the exchanges, but it was just like who was doing the most damage in those rounds. And it was like Emmett was kind of doing the most damage. And then Shane Burgos. He knocked Shane Burgos down twice. A very good stand-up fighter, long range, good with it, very fluid. So I think Topuria has higher ceilings to him, but I think Emmett's pulling it out. It's gonna be like I said, this is a stacked card. Like a lot of these fights, these are not definitive picks other than that 3-man parlay I put together.
Nah, that's real shit.
But other than that, Kev, you got anything else on the card before we head out?
Man, shout out anybody that wanted to go see that card in Jacksonville. That's a vibe. Check out the St. John's Town Center. They have like fucking 16 Zaxby's in that bitch. There's always something to do in Jacksonville. Just don't leave anything. Don't leave money in the car.
Facts. And Jacksonville Beach is not a real beach. I say that.
Yeah, that's fucking funny as fuck. But hey, man, if you didn't know, I really don't mind telling your ass again that this has been the Totally Blitz podcast. You feel me? My name is Kev Waterboy Savoy. I'm in this bitch with Paul Pick and Wyndham Concert. We just broke down, we just gave you our previews and picks at UFC Jacksonville. And we don't mind reminding your ass that we're gonna keep coming with it. Make sure you checked out the recap from last card. And make sure you're checking out all the boxing episodes. And football is coming back. Just wait on it. And but one more thing before we go. I got to make sure that you know that you is a bitch.